Group submissions. The process has been scammed a lot lately. But apart from that, is it a good idea to use this system of submitting cards for grading, or should you do it yourself? Details coming up on this episode of DIY Sports Cards. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of DIY Sports Cards, a production of IconicTradingCards.com. This is the place where we take a deep dive into the buying and selling of sports cards for collectors and investors alike. I'm Ramon, the founder of this channel. What's up? So what is up with the group submission process? We've been seeing companies like Marx's Cards scam away a lot of money from folk who are wanting to get their cards graded. Today, I want to talk about the pros and cons of the process. So all scams aside, is it a good idea to use a group submission process to submit your cards for grading? Or are you better off doing it yourself? Let's have a deeper dive into the pros and cons of this and see what I'm talking about. Okay, today we're going to look at group submissions. And when I talk about group submissions, I'm not talking about any one particular company. Every grading company is victim to the process. You see, group submissions are independent but supported by every grading company that's out there. The idea is, hey, let me take several customers, all their cards that they want to have graded, bring it all together, and in a bundled format, submit all the cards together as a single order to these companies. In theory, this supply chain process is efficient, and it actually minimizes the receiving that you might see at a PSA and the shipping. You're shipping one consolidated order of several miniature orders that the submitting group submitter is actually managing. Today I want to look at the 3 pros and 4 cons to this process as it stands today. All right, pro number 1, service level. Okay, with service levels, group submitters are going to be offering more than just taking your cards and sending them into PSA or SGC or whomever. They're going to take a look at your cards, they're going to inspect the quality of the cards, and they're going to basically tell you which cards are qualified, for a better choice of words, to be submitted into grading. Are they going to get the rate of return that you would expect? In other words, they're going to do the financial assessment for you. If a card is worth X money, are you going to get that return when you get it graded based on the condition of the card itself? If the answer is yes, you get it sent in. If the answer is no, they would probably recommend you not do it. Now, you, the customer, have the opportunity to say, I don't care what the cost is, I want that card graded. As such, that's the service level that they offer. So there's a little bit more dialogue between you and the group submitter usually when that happens. Okay, pro number 2, more offerings. Now, this is really a jab at PSA. You see, if you were to submit to PSA yourself today, the cheapest service that you can get with them is a $100 service at $14.99 declared value. $100 to grade one card. Now, they offer the economy level at $50 a card, but you have to go through this submission event and you have to be able to get selected to be allocated a certain number of submissions of cards that you can submit for grading before they actually even consider you. So in other words, it's a whole process before you get accepted. It's, to be honest, it's kind of a joke. You, the customer, directly don't have that option with PSA, but these submission groups, they will have that option. They'll be able to sell a service to you at that cost, at the $50, having to waste your time going to an event where you hope you get your name called. Okay, pro number 3, discounted services. So with SGC, you, the customer, you have to pay $30 per card to ship directly. Some of these bulk submitters, they're going to be able to sell it to you at a much more discounted rate. This is actually not a bad thing, because if you go to a local card shop, and SGC does do a good job of this, they actually give local card shops a much more discounted rate to be able to manage the supply chain for you. So you'll probably be paying somewhere around $25 per card as opposed to $30 per card to have them submitted through a local card shop and have them take care of the business for you. So there is a little perk that comes with that. Now, with the good comes the other side of the coin. Now I want to take a look at some of the cons that come with this process. So let's talk about the first con. I personally think this is the most important one. The first one is usually, and I'm not saying all the time, usually these local card shops expect upfront payment for these services. It really doesn't make sense to pay for a service up front when you don't even know if the service is going to be completed. I'm not a big fan of paying for something I haven't received yet. That's why I see this as a con. Con number 2, no progress reports. When you go to a local card shop or a group submitter, you're going to give them your cards, and conceptually you're going to give them a wad of cash or a credit card number. They're going to charge you, they're going to take your money, and then on top of it, you have all these cards with them, and you really don't have any indication through a group submission as to how the card progress is going. You see, through a direct submission, you can see exactly what stage of the game you're at. Through a group submission, you don't get that line of sight. Now, of course, these local card shops, they have integrity. They want to keep their business running. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure you know what's going on. But it's not a process that offers much transparency. There's no transparency, you really don't know, and you're basically taking word of mouth as to how things are going. That doesn't sit very well with me. All right, con number 3, the hidden middleman. Now, so far we've talked about you giving your cards to a group submission company, you give them a wad of money, you have no idea what these cards are, where they stand in the grading process. And then on top of this, did you realize there's someone in between the local card shop and a company like PSA actually taking the cards and submitting them on those local card shops' behalf? So there's actually an extra layer of management of your cards. And by the way, money is exchanging hands along the way. So you've got money, you got cards going all over the place, and now you've got someone in between that you didn't even know existed managing your cards. Folks, this was Mark's cards in many cases. They were the hidden middleman that a lot of us didn't even know existed in the first place. Big red flag when you think about it from a risk standpoint. And the last con, number 4 for the process, it's risk. I mean, think about it. You're handing your cards off. You got all this unknown in the process, a lot of darkness on transparency. You risk not only losing the opportunity to get your cards back, but also the money that you spent to have those cards graded in the first place by going through a group submission. So what does this mean for you, the collector, who has a stack of cards that you want to get graded? It means that the process of going through the group submission, in my opinion, is heavily flawed. You lose the transparency. You lose light of sight of your cards. I mean, these are valuable assets that you have that you're looking to just try to appraise to assure the value of the card is secured. Grading companies out there, I think all of you really need to get together and start devising a scheme that if you really want to start using these group submission providers and use this process, you've got to do a better job of providing line of sight. Now, today I'm aware that PSA came out and announced, stricter guidelines, to defend against issues like what they saw with Mark's cards. And they said that they're going to start having these bulk submitters pay a deposit. That doesn't help you, the collector. That helps PSA. They also said that they're going to ban any companies that start getting involved with middlemaning and doing that. PSA, I've got a question for you with regards to that comment. How on earth are you going to manage against middlemaning when you can't even manage the backlog in a timely manner? Stay in your lane, get those cards graded, and do the best you can to expand the distribution channels of companies that want to start sending bulk submissions directly to you as opposed to going through a middleman. You created this monster. I think you need to fix it. Going back to what I want, if you think about what this channel is called, this is a DIY channel. So from my perspective, I'm a big believer that you do it yourself. Sure, it costs a little bit more money. Sure, it requires a little bit more legwork from you. But there's plenty of information out there for you to determine what the condition of your cards are before you submit them in. There's plenty of information out there. You can see what it takes. If you have a card, there's going to be a PSA 10 version of that card out there somewhere. Pull a picture, compare it, see what yours looks like compared to that one. And then you can kind of decide for yourself whether it's a PSA 10, 9, 8, 7, or if it's an SGC 10, 9, 5, 9, 8, 8, 5, or 8, whatever. So there are definitely opportunities for you to validate for yourself what you think the card's going to grade at. Anyhow, that's all I got for you today, folks. Kind of an irritating time when I see news like this about companies trying to scam the system and cash out before they have to deliver. Not a good thing. And sadly but true, it's going to continue to happen. I wish I could say the card business, this hobby itself, is free of all scammers, but it's always going to be there. I mean, you see it with fake autographs, trim cards, fake grading cards, fake cards that are in cards that are in fake slabs. You name it, it's always going to be there because it's a target. But if you want to take it from a glass half full standpoint, if people are trying to scam the system, that means the system itself is very profitable. So hang in there, but just trust your senses, and the more you know, the better you're going to be. You always reserve the right to get smarter. Have a good week, folks. Stay safe, be healthy, and we'll talk to you at the next video. Peace out.